I'm Brad Lamack, still in Los Angeles. I'm at segment 3 with Sandra Tsing Loh, who I'm like so happy to meet you and see you and talk to you. I mean, I'm like, this is like really good. Thank you so much for doing this.
My pleasure.
Because you're like, you do so much. And Sandra's new book, Mother on Fire, and indeed she is. It could be an actress. You could do one like, say, Actress on Fire. Maybe. We can talk about that. Your adventures, I was like, spin it saying, the career journey, but yours is more like career adventures in the business of acting. And I think there's the perspective offers some really interesting lessons to particularly, young actors, which are, there's just the facts, ma'am. There are ways that the business operates, and they have to learn how to adapt to how we have to do business. But your journey is, and your adventure it's colored by how you live your life and how you were raised and how you see the world and what you studied. And I think in segment 2 we were talking about that you majored in physics, not theater or acting.
Right.
And I think that was such a smart choice. I love kids who study performing arts in college.
Yeah. But
limiting it to that, you want to have color. You want to fill your curriculum with all kinds of things, even if it's not your major.
I think that is true. Yes, and you want to have an interesting life and an interesting journey and be
balance.
Turned on by a lot of different things.
And a balance between work and real life.
I think that's so. And also, art needs to refer to something in the real world. Otherwise, it just dries up and doesn't and is not relevant anymore. So I think having an interesting journey, and especially I think young actors, it's really hard because, young used to be now 25, now it's like 13. And also, in the ingenue age, it's like, man, you have to be like an anorectic 15-year-old to even play the average girl on TV. I have friends who are young actors, and it's just, when they touch down in L.A., it can be just a kind of a brutal experience to start off with. I also think I was once on a panel with Megan Mullally of Will and Grace, who plays Karen, who is a hilarious, delightful person. I think she didn't even read for Will and Grace until she was like 42. She also had an amazing career journey of theater of all different kinds of things, and she had just landed this job, then, and she didn't even want to read for it, but they said, make it yours, and because she's a brilliant actress, she did. So I think there's all kinds of different ways to go. I also would, with actors, and I think I always say with women in particular, because it's a fact that in the Writers Guild, it's mostly white males in baseball caps. So they're not going to be able to write necessarily the same roles for women that are really interesting, and I think for women it's a fight for relevancy in all areas. So, and I always recommend that if any writers, male or any actors, male or female, have any writing in them, they should do it. My career then really became a one-person show career after that whole CBS business and whatever. I just forged on and did a couple one-person shows off Broadway. I've done one already, and that was a really wonderful experience as well. And I think it's a great way of connecting to audiences, especially if you're the type of performer I'm much more of a monologist, as you can tell by the rapid way that I just keep rambling on and on.
No, this is good because this is going to be on your final after.
It's going to be on your final. So that I think some people have the kind of a patois, and that a one-person show, especially in its heyday, it kind of goes in and out of cycles.
Yes.
But really was a wonderful adventure and a great thing to do.
So I want to talk about that because that, in many ways, it speaks to what's happening in live theater in L.A.
Yes.
But I'm also curious about the business piece of doing that.
Right.
So I've seen you did one at the Tiffany years and years ago, which was the first thing that I saw you do live, which was wonderful. And then I saw, of course, Mother on Fire, which was wonderful. Mother on Fire was set records. 7 months run in Los Angeles in a town where people say, theater, who cares?
Yes.
So how do you, from a business perspective, how does that happen? Do you raise the money to do this yourself? Do you find producers to align with who do that for you? Are you actively involved in the business of that production, or do you focus mostly on what you do on stage?
That's a really great question. Okay, I think of myself as kind of like the Ani DeFranco of performance. There are models of women in business who I'm like a gorilla performance artist, and I started that way too. So I'm able to make money because I'm a writer. I can make money very quickly as a writer. I do have a producer, Friar McAllister, for 10 years, who we kind of like have partnered in this business of just being really frugal, but bold. But and so you have to have a crew of people that you really trust. And Ken Werther, who is like also who he introduced us, who is a publicist. Yeah. We're all guerrilla kind of pirate people who kind of like, if we need to spend money, we can. But if you go, I got to do it on a shoestring, I got $50. Fine, we'll do it. So and booking so you just I'm a business from a business perspective. I think I got another pilot deal to write a pilot for HBO, $25,000, and so it's kind of like $25,000 is what it takes to put on theater in LA to get a show up. I've written that check many times because I make it from my writing, and so but I know how to shake down that money so that we start recouping in 4 to 6 weeks and come back. So these are kind of like a mini microeconomics of how to recoup. But the thing is, and it's great training if you're writing a show, because you realize if I write a show, it's got to be flat out funny. People have to want to come. It should be an hour and 12 minutes long exactly. No intermission. Yeah. We got to have wine and beer. That you're really throwing a party and a show, and you want to make it about something. In my case, Mother on Fire, it was about getting my daughter into a kindergarten in Los Angeles, and it was so politically incorrect. There was stuff that I would say in there that people would go, oh, but they would start laughing. So you need to make it really relevant, and people have to go see it. And then you have to, and that's just kind of being out in the world and finding what theater can do. And I realized what theater can do that TV sitcoms can is that they can tell real stories of people of real ages about what they're really thinking. Although I have to say TV dramas can be very good about that, but TV sitcoms seem to have fallen into just a really awful time where they can't really discuss very much stuff.
But you have a wonderful knack of being able to relate to your audience in person. I mean, I was in a room, it was an Equity 99-seat house, and I felt like I was just in somebody's living room.
Right. Well, and that's a lot of, I appreciate that, but that's kind of a lot of training. I think solo performance has been great for me because I'm a performer who tends to be a bit hammier, bigger, and almost commedia-like in terms of my approach to performance, which is, again, not really good for like a TV drama where it's kind of like too uninflect the way you'd have to. It's too here. It's kind of like, even if I was trying to be subtle, it would be too much. But in theater, it really works for me, and I've worked 600-seat places where you have to fill up, where it really is a good style for me. But also I had it clubbed into me. I would do shows, off-Broadway shows in New York, 5 shows, 8 shows a week. 5 weeks, 8 shows a week. So you're there 40 times a week. So you don't even, going on there, you may not feel it. You may not want to do it. You may have a stomach ache. You may feel gassy. It doesn't matter. 8 o'clock, you have to go on. And then with comedy, it has a certain rhythm to it. So you just get it beaten out of you of you just do it that many times. And Penn Jillette is a friend of mine of Penn and Teller. And he said to me a long time ago that performance is just about hours in the cockpit. Hours flying, flight hours. You just have to, so that you don't go on when you're ready. You feel like it. You're just like, the beaches of Normandy. You got to keep going out there, but also find in that moment just the ability to relax. I remember one time I'd been at Second Stage, and I'd done a great Saturday night show, Bad Sex with Bud Kemp, and then 2 Sunday shows, and I was rolling through the weekend, and then Monday off, and then there's Tuesday. So Tuesday was and then my friend Henry Alford said, that in New York, 8 p.m. on Tuesday, people will say, "Oh, I can't join you for dessert because I have theater." They say, "I have theater," so it's a disease. Right. I have theater. So it's the Wall Streeters. They're not really that happy, but it's kind of a duty to check off on this subscription thing that they went. So you walk out and and as a comedian, you deliver your first big laugh line, and there's silence. And so, and your rhythm is totally thrown off because you're used to throwing out the line, the big laugh, and in that big laugh you cross over there. Well, there's no sound as, your hooves trot across the boards to the next place. So you're going, oh my God. So, and I found that in this particular show, and unfortunately that was one Carol Rothman, the head of the theater, was watching. And she watches from a video screen up in the balcony. She doesn't want to be affected by audience laughter or anyone having a good time. She wants to watch you on a Tuesday in a little video to watch your performance only. And and I just kept saying lines, they would fall, and then even as you're speaking forward in the script, your mind will race backwards to go, why didn't they laugh at that? Why didn't they laugh at that? They didn't laugh at that. They won't laugh on the next bit. So you're kind of thinking of all these different things at once, and then finally you get kind of mad, and then you just start tearing your way through it because you go, well, the sooner I'm done, the sooner I can go in my gin and tonic, you know. And she came down after me, and she says, never do that again. Never do that again. She said, that was your Karen Finley evening. The performance, the rageful evening. Don't ever do that again. And that was a really important lesson and my sister used to berate me because I'd go, I have to go on again, I'm exhausted. She goes, people paid money there in the theater. It is up to you to give them a gift of whatever it is, and they may react, they may not react. Your job is to go out there and give it to them. And Tyne Daly had a great phrase that I've always thought about it, and she says, your job as a performer is to help the audience unclasp their fingers and open their hands to receive the gift you want to give them.
Oh, that sounds very Tyne Daly.
Is that, it's kind of like, and that's true, that you keep inviting them in, and that the sheer pleasure, you're just trying to give pleasure, fun, welcome in, and it's kind of like, when you didn't like that joke, well, here's one that
and by the way,
over here, it's like, I'm having so much fun on this trip. Just hop on anytime. Doors open. Just anytime. You're welcome to swim on my ocean. And then sometimes you're really not in a good mood. And I think the only thing, but you must feel cheer and fun and enjoyment. And sometimes the only enjoyment is like I would have a half Blimpies turkey and Swiss sandwich waiting on my dressing room. That would fill me a little.
Well, that's motivation.
Yeah.
Will you stick around for one more?
Yes.
It ticks away. It ticks away.
It does.
Sandra Tsing Loh is here, and I couldn't be happier. And we invite you to join us for segment 4 of Inside the Business of Acting coming up. I'm Brad Lemack in Los Angeles. Thanks.